Good morning, dear students. I am Dr. Srinivas Battini, Professor of Chemistry in St. Peter's Engineering College. Okay, today we will discuss the crystal field theory. What is the theory? Crystal field theory. Crystal field theory. So mainly we will discuss in crystal field theory today. The topics are postulates, and splitting, crystal field splitting of d orbitals. Crystal field splitting of d orbitals. Okay, this is our topic today we are going to discuss. So what did I explain in the last two videos? What did I explain? Just revise it. So we have completed the molecular energy level diagrams of individual molecules like nitrogen, oxygen and fluorine. Also we discussed the pi molecular electrons in 1,3-butadiene ion. Okay, what are the topics we discussed till? All are sigma star, sigma 1s, pi star, pi s, psi 1, psi 2, pi 1, pi, like that. All are in bonding molecular orbital, anti-bonding molecular. All are in where? In the p orbitals. Just p orbitals. We discussed only p orbitals. Today we will discuss the d orbitals. What is that? D orbital. D orbital. Today we will discuss the crystal field theory. Okay. What is the importance of this theory? What is the importance? Why do we want to discuss this theory? Why do we want to discuss this theory? Because many metals showing the color property. We know the color property. Color, copper, brown color, silver, white color, gold, yellow color, like that. All the metals. So metals showing the color property and magnetic property and metal property, and different shapes of complex molecules. The complex molecules also different shapes. And how can we know all these things? The color property, magnetic property and complex structures, different complex structures, different types of shapes. So this theory will solve all these problems. What are the problems? Color property, magnetic property, shapes of all the metals. So that is the importance of this theory. That is the reason we have to read carefully. So this theory will solve all these problems. Okay, that is the reason we want to discuss the crystal field theory. So today, what we have to discuss the crystal field theory, postulates and some splitting of d orbitals. Okay, first little bit introduction. The crystal field theory. This theory was put forward by Brett and Van Leck. Who is that? Brett. B-R-E. Brett and Van Leck. Van Leck. Brett and Van Leck. Brett and Van Leck. In the year 1930. This theory was put forward by the Brett and Van Leck in 1930. It is mainly discussed to crystals. Mainly discuss the ionic crystals. Ionic crystals. Ionic crystals. Hence, it is termed as a crystal field theory. Hence, it termed as a crystal field theory. So, who discovered this theory? Bethe and Van Leck. In which year? 1930 year. So, mainly focused on ionic crystals. That's why it is called as crystal field theory. Okay? So, that is the introduction of this theory. So, today we will discuss the main important thing is the postulates and crystal fields. So, now the postulates, we will discuss the postulates. So, the main postulates, we will discuss the main postulates. Okay. So, the first one is a complex is considered as a combination of central metal ion. A complex. So, complex containing the central metal ion. Metal ion. Okay. A complex is considered as a combination of central metal ion by surrounding by the ligands. Okay. It's a complex structure. A complex is considered as a combination of central metal ion and surrounded by ligands. This is the one postulate. Okay, clear? Once again, a complex is considered as a combination of central metal ion surrounded by ligands. That is the number one postulate. And number two, the ionic ligands such as cyanide, chlorides, bromides, etc. Like that. These are the ionic ligands. The ionic ligands such as cyanide, chlorides, bromides, fluorides, etc. are regarded as point charges. What is that? These are the point charges. Point charges. This is the second one. What is that? The ionic ligands such as chlorides, cyanides, bromides are point charges. Whereas the neutral ligands, H2O, ammonia, these are the etc. Neutral ligands. These are negative ligands and this is the neutral ligands. So neutral ligands regarded as point dipoles. Remember the point dipoles. Point dipole. That is the second postulate. Second postulate is the negative ions such as cyanide, chloride, bromide are regarded as the point charges and neutral ions such as water and ammonia regarded as point dipoles. Okay, these are the two postulates and the third, totally 6 postulates are there. Third one is there is no overlap between the metal orbital and ligand orbitals. So the metal orbital, no overlap. No overlap. No overlap. Sorry. Overlap. No. There is no overlap between the metal and ligands. Between the metal and ligand orbital. Metal orbital and ligand. There is no overlap like in p orbitals. P orbitals, there is the overlap are there. But in the d orbital, there is no overlap between the metal and ligands. The interaction between the metal and ligands are purely electrostatic. Electrostatic. So this is the first postulate, second and third and fourth. The third is the no overlap. There is no overlap between the metal orbital and ligand orbitals. Purely what? The interaction between the metal ion and ligand are purely electrostatic. Purely electrostatic. So that is the fourth one. Fourth postulates. postulates. All the d orbitals, all the d orbitals, you know the d orbitals, dx square minus y square, dz square, dxy, dyz and dzx. Total number 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 d orbitals are there. All the 5 d orbitals have equal energy on a metal atom. For example, this is a metal atom. All the d orbitals, same energy. That is called what? That is called degenerate orbitals. What is that? Degenerate. Degenerate orbitals. Once again, all the d orbitals have equal energy. All the 5 d orbitals have equal energy on the metal atom. That is called the degenerate orbital. Okay, that is the most important. This is our fifth one. Fifth postulates. And the sixth postulate is, as the ligand approaches the central metal atom. What is that? The ligand approach the central metal atom. Mean, for example, here ligand is there. So this is a metal atom. The ligands are approaches to the central metal. As the ligand approaches to the central metal atom, for complex formation, these orbitals lost their degeneracy. Whenever the ligand approaches to the central metal, so they automatically lost the degeneracy. Mean, first of all 5 orbitals are equal energy. But whenever they are approaches to the metal central atom, and automatically they lose the degeneracy. So as the ligand approaches the central metal atom for complex formation, these orbitals lost their degeneracy and split into orbitals of different energies. Then what happened? They are split into 2 or 3 times or many times, we don't know. So how many times I will tell you that. So what happened? They split into orbitals of different energies depending upon the direction from which the ligand approaches the central metal atom. So ligand, for example, this ligand approaches like this and some like this in some directions, different directions from which the ligand approaches the central metal atom. Central metal atom. That is the sixth one. Once again, the sixth one is what? As the ligand approaches the central metal atom for formation of the complex, these orbitals lose their degeneracy and split into orbitals of different energies depending upon the directions from which the ligand approaches the central metal atom. Total, how many? 6 postulates are there. Once again, first what? The central metal ion surrounded by the ligand. Simply I will explain briefly. Central metal ion surrounded by the ligands. 1. Second one, the negative ion, cyanide, chlorides, bromides, regarded termed as the point charges, and neutral atoms, H2O, ammonia, etc. are point dipoles. That is our second postulate. And third postulate is there is no overlap between the metal orbitals and ligand. There is no overlap. And the fourth postulate is that is purely electrostatic attraction. Purely electrostatic force applied. Fourth one. And fifth one is all are equal energy. All 5 d orbitals are equally. So they are called the degeneracy orbitals. Degenerate orbitals. That is the fifth one. And the last one is whenever as the ligand approaches to central metal atom for complex formation, the orbitals lost their degeneracy and split into different energy levels. Split into, like for example, dx square minus y square, dz square and dx are 2 groups like that. Split into 2 or 3 groups. Depend upon the directions. Which ligand comes which direction? We don't know. That is the postulates. Okay, these are the 6 postulates. So you must remember whenever write the postulates of crystal field theory. So write down all these things. Okay. Next what we will say that crystal field splitting of d orbitals. Okay. Okay, now crystal field theory splitting in d orbital. Splitting in d orbital. D orbitals. We know that d orbitals contains the dxy, dyz, dxz, dyz, dx square minus y square and dz square. These are the orbitals. 5 orbitals are there in d orbital. So this theory does not consider any orbital overlap. Crystal field theory, it does not consider any orbital overlap. Unlike valence band theory, we know that valence bond theory, the sharing a pair of electrons, covalent bond. This theory also does not consider the covalent character of the bond between metal and ligand. The metal ions and ligands do not mix their orbitals or share of electrons. Here in crystal field splitting, they are not sharing of a pair of electrons, just only the pure electrostatic force of attraction. Okay, so to understand the crystal field theory, one must understand the description of the lobes first of all. What? To understand the crystal field theory, we must understand the description of the lobes. What are the lobes are present? So I will draw it carefully. Already is there in intermediate. Okay. So just we have to see this one. Okay. Now. So this is the dxy, dxz, dyz, dx square minus dx square minus y square dz square. Okay. So now first of all we will see this. It is, the lobes are like x and y, x and y, and this is the z axis. The lobes lie between the x and y. Here the lobes lie z and x. This is the y. Here the lobes lie between y, z and y. So here x and y, and this is the z square. Okay, first of all we have to look the what? Here dxy, this one is the dxy, and this is the dxz, and this is the dyz. Okay, now this is the which one? Dx square minus y square, x square and y square. This is the z. Okay, and finally this is the dz square. Okay, the lobes are how these lobes are present. So we will indicate this is the color, blue color. This is the one lobe, and this is another lobe. Okay. Now, description, we can see the description. First of all, the dxy lobe, this is the dxy lobe. This lobe lie in between the x and y axis. X and y axis. The lobe, this blue color is the lobe, lie between the x and y in dxy orbital. In dxz, the lobes lie in between x and z. X and lobes lie between the x and z. In dyz, the lobes lie between the y and z. But whereas this one, in dx square minus y square, the lobes lie on the x and y axis. See, this is the x axis and this is the y axis. X and y axis. And whereas this one, dz square, there are two lobes. There are two lobes on the z axis. What? Z axis. And there is a downward shape. This is what? Downward shape. Downward shaped ring. Downward shaped ring. Okay. This is lie on the xy plane. The ring is lie on the xy plane around the two lobes. This is about the description of the lobes. So before going to see the crystal field theory, splitting in d orbital, we must understand there are 5 d orbitals. There are dxy, dyz, dxz, dx square minus y square and dz square. So which lobes lie on the which axis? This is must to, we have to know it. In an isolated gaseous ion, all the 5d orbitals, all the gaseous atom, all the 5d orbitals are degenerate. What is the meaning of degenerate? So degenerate, that is, they have the same energy and the approach of Ligons. What is that? Same, all are having the same energies. The electrons in the d orbital of the central metal ion are repelled by the electron pair of the Ligons. So before going to attract, all are equal energy. The electrons in the d orbitals of the central metal ion are repelled by the electron pair of the Ligons. Okay, there are two tags indicated. So two, they split into two. One set 1 and set 2. There are two sets are there. One is the dz square and dx square. This is the dx square and so this is what we can say Eg orbitals. This is the Eg orbital. In set 2, Eg orbital. Eg mean what? Double generate set. dz square and dz square and dx square minus y square. One set, that is the Eg orbital. Eg mean double generate set. Okay. So we can say these orbitals are called the axial orbitals because the axis is there, x-axis and y-axis. We can say these orbitals are called the axial orbitals. Axial orbitals. And whereas this dxy, dxz and dyz are non-axial orbitals. What are these? Non-axial orbitals. Non-axial. The set one is the non-axial orbitals. So we can say T2G. This one is called the T2G. T2G. T2G means triple generate set. Triple generate set. So one is the axial orbital set, another one is the non-axial set. Non-axial means this one. That is called the triple generate set. Under the influence of Ligand's, the 5 degenerate d orbitals split into 2 sets. Just before I told you, 2 sets mean one set is the EG, another set is the T2G. So this splitting of d orbital is termed as the crystal field splitting or energy level splitting. What is that once again? Under the influence of ligands, the 5 degenerate means same energy level. Under the influence of ligands, the 5 degenerate d orbital split into 2 sets of orbitals having different energies, Eg and 2Dg. Having different, this splitting of d orbital is termed as crystal field splitting or energy level splitting. Okay, thank you.